angry, 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 Aussie, 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 angry, 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 Aussie, 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 angry, 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 angry.
Booyah! Countdown over. We are live. I always feel like I've got to clear my throat after I start talking on a live stream. Really should get in the habit of clearing my throat more before I come on. Shieldsy, about time. It is literally about time for me to start. It's the time that I start, and so I am starting. And hello, Lucas Tripper. 8 p.m. on a Thursday evening, and I just ate huge, overpriced hipster burgers for dinner, and they were good. Must have been a bit hungry because some days I can't eat a whole one of these burgers because they are pretty fucking big. Did today, though. Don't even feel that bad. You know when you do that stupid thing where you eat till you feel bad? Oh, the fat bastards out there know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's a thing. But I feel okay. We'll see. God, I just psychologically, I think, I hope I don't start yawning again. Ooh, what's this? All right. Little family update randomly. And hi, Sunbear, how are you? Yes, Shieldsy, no bad news today. It's like we're going to enter the boring zone, which will be a fucking relief. Lucas Trooper, have I probably been in down lows in life? How to get a lows feeling? Oh, okay. Well, you know what? When you feel low, it's actually usually not for no reason. And the step one is recognizing it. So kudos to you that you feel that you're low, much lower than you should be, and there's no reason for it. So you actually have taken the first step of recognizing this isn't right. I should do something about it. A lot of people take a really fucking long time to reach that stage where they realize they should be looking for solutions. So the second stage is actually looking for solutions. And I am not an absolute expert in this field, but I think traditionally is first step is talking to a GP who can help you with a mental health plan. Most GPs are pretty good with this. You can just talk through how you're feeling with them. They can help you sort of look at what are the next sensible steps, and that may well include going to a counsellor for counselling. And after a bit more sort of discussion and diagnosis, you know, in some cases it's like, well, we think this medication will help. In other cases, there's no need for medication, and it's literally just the talking and counselling bit can work wonders. But like I say, you've done the first step of recognizing there's an issue. I would say the next step is talk to a GP. Yes, Shieldsy, I think you can safely assume they're defunding Trump's bullshit with the wall. And hello, Megalich. How are you doing? I put a lot of blood orange juice in that. I think I'm going to put some more lemonade in. A spoon to stir it. Sorry, I'm just going to go on the other side and get that spoon with a long handle. Get the lemonade. The blood orange juice has a strong flavour. It's quite tart and a bit acidic. So I'm just diluting it a bit more. Hui. Okay, then we go. Might need more ice, actually. Ice is melting a bit. I'll give it a minute and see, because I will have to drink some of it to fit any ice in. Still, yes. And yes, the good news with Trump. And I've honestly been seeing something that I think is a bit of good news with the QAnon people realizing they've been lied to. No, Megaleech, zero sugar lemonade. If I was doing full sugar lemonade, I'd just drink fruit juice. Did I say hello, Annette? Hi, Annette. But yes, I was looking, and at least some of the QAnon cultists, when nothing happened and Biden just seamlessly got seamlessly transitioned to office, some of them at least are realizing, wait, it's all been lies. You know, Trump fucked them. Trump was playing them. So, okay, you want a link? Let me see if I can find a good thing. I've just been watching it in the social media and whatnot. QAnon. So what does ABC News say? Australia's ABC News. The Great Awakening turned into the Great Fizzle. QAnon forums lit up with posts expressing emotions ranging from hope to betrayal. I'm about to puke, one wrote. It's over and nothing makes sense. Absolutely nothing, another lamented. Some believers threw in the towel, mentally exhausted from years of peddling QAnon conspiracy. Some followers noted 17 flags as Trump delivered a farewell address and accused the 17th letter of the alphabet. Oh. Yes. So they've all ruined their lives for no way. Is this doctor says there could be a way to encourage QAnon devotees to change their views about irrational conspiracy theory. We have to look to conservatives, to Republicans who maybe didn't buy in the QAnon conspiracy, but seemed more like trusted actors, given an off-ramp. So yeah, you were lied to, you were duped. That's terrible. Here's a way you can rechannel your activities into something productive. That's boring. What is NPR? Some are wavering, others steadfast. For some supporters, Biden taking office was an earth-shattering turn of events, or non-events. QAnon's less a baseless conspiracy theory than an umbrella of many baseless conspiracy theories. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, and they're all, yeah, look, at least some of them are realizing they've been lied to. But yeah, the danger is they just get radicalized by someone else, honestly. Yes, Danny on Facebook, the meltdown is something to see, certainly. I can only hope that some of them start to edge back to normalcy after this. I believe there's a real concern that a lot of them will just be drawn into other extreme conspiracies, because there's a lot of manipulative would-be fascists out there who delight in lying to people like that and using them for their own ends. which is what the whole QAnon thing was. It was a right-wing fuckwit trying to manipulate gullible people who were looking for something to latch onto, and it just got absolutely bizarrely successful. Like, I think far more successful than the charlatan. Well, there is really strong evidence that the QAnon lie was started by a South African grifter, just conspiracy peddler and a con man, but then because he was posting to particular boards, and then the guy who was running these boards, who is a bigger con man and runs child porn out of the Philippines, he took control of it because it was on his boards, and he manipulated circumstances so that he was the only one who could be trusted to post his Q. So it was always, I mean, it's stating the obvious to any rational person. It was always a fraud. It was always a con. It was always a scam, because it's stupid as hell. And is just designed to appeal to people who are like really fucking desperate for something to latch onto. And it worked just horrifyingly well. But I just hope that, you know, a sizable number of them actually realize it was lies from the start. You know, they fooled themselves and fooled themselves. They kept setting new deadlines and new deadlines and new deadlines when nothing happened. But for a lot of them, the immovable deadline was Biden's inauguration. Like, it wouldn't happen. They'd get arrested. The National Guard being all over DC was a trick that they were just going to turn on Biden and his crowd and arrest them. And then it didn't happen. And it's just, And for a lot of them, I think they can't just come up with another date. It's a thing cults, particularly doomsday cults, have always done. They set an end of the world date, and when it doesn't happen, they don't even blink. They just go, oh no, I just got word from the Almighty, the date's moved. That's happened again and again and again and again, except for the ones where they actually suicide. They're a bit different. Mofo's sign, yes, no surprise that none of the Capitol Hill insurgents, none of them got pardoned. And yeah, I'm with you. I had hopes for Bernie Sanders, but the Democratic Party machine knows how to shut down an insurgent populist. The Republican Party did not, because it is important to remember that the Republican establishment absolutely did not want Trump to be president. They were very against it. They just sucked up to him when he was in power. So, Annette, what did you do a post on? Let me see if I can find what you were talking about. There's the duck. Oh, yes. Oh, a Forbes article on QAnon. We all got played. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's the guy's name, Ron Watkins, the guy who controlled 8chan and had been making the posts as Q for a while. And he said it's all over. So it looks like he's given up. I love this. Moderators on the biggest QAnon forum now banning people who don't keep the faith after inauguration. They're having a hard time enforcing it. Can someone explain how this is not over? Reads the top response. And Yeah. Try. There's some people. Yeah. So they're splitting. There's people who are. It's finally sunk in that this was a lie. That it was always a lie. That they've in many cases ruined their lives because of a lie. But there's some who are just clutching on even harder. Apparently, some of them have gone with the spin that Biden was really Q now. They've given up on Trump, and I think Biden secretly was on our side all the time. Yeah. So, yeah, they're going to lose some of their ranks, but some of the ranks are going to be more fixated. Hello, Kirsten. Oh yeah, Shieldsy. Tiger King didn't get his pardon. That's a shame. Raiders, the Steele dossier. Well, yes, the Steele dossier. The thing that suggested Trump had been compromised by Russian operatives. That was what they call opposition research. All political parties do it. They try to find out the worst dirt they can on their own candidate before the other side does. And if it's really, really bad and would sink them, then they basically tell the candidate, we found out about this, you have to fuck off. So yes, the Steele dossier that had some dirt on Trump was started by Republicans, but for whatever reason, I don't know that they were too slow in getting information, or they weren't game to go public, or Trump didn't give a shit when they told him they got this. But then it was basically the investigator when he found out the Republicans didn't want the information anymore. He just went to Democrats and said, "Do you want to buy some information?" Rah, rah, rah. Yes, Mofo's own Lil Wayne got, and he's not the only rapper who got a pardon. Yes, the Trump pardons were a weird mixed bag. Abigail, hello. Mega Leech, just search Google News for QAnon. All right, I'll send you this actual link, this one from Forbes. So this is the one from Forbes magazine. Yeah, Justin, I heard Trump left a letter, or more likely a note for Biden. Something to wipe his ass with. Sorry, my first time. What about Betsy DeVos and Arjit Pai? I didn't hear anything about them. They're both garbage who probably should be facing criminal charges. So maybe they needed a pardon. I don't know. Yes. So, yeah, we're getting, some of the QAnon crowd. It has sunk in that they've just been lied to all along. Some of them just like doubling down, and they're going to come up with the next fantasy. And of course, there are some grifters behind the scenes who have seen it as a way to either make money or manipulate people into doing what they want, or both. And they won't give up. They'll stick with the conspiracy. Agro Pixie, hello, good evening. Should they with the White House like a hotel room? I imagine they burnt everything that wasn't of historical significance. I mean, I'm not even joking. If I were Joe Biden and you're going to be living in the White House now, and I'd just be full on like, No, man, fucking burn the mattresses, all the bedding. Just the idea of sleeping where he slept is too fucking gross. God, I mean, I'd be tempted to rip out the toilets and get new toilets. That might be going a bit far, but I am not joking. I like the sheets. I'd replace the fucking mattresses. Fucking nah. And everything else, you get a professional sterilization team to wipe everything down before you fucking touch anything. Because, I mean, again, not even joking, that was disease central. That was COVID central. So many people there fucking had COVID. It was ridiculous. So, yeah. Oh, Raiders, I wouldn't be at all surprised if it was 500,000 on the cleanup. Because there's like, A, the psychological aspects of it, I'd want to really deep clean. But B, their staff was fucking rife with people who were COVID positive. And the new administration can't afford to get taken down by that. So it's like, no, really seriously clean the fuck out of everything. Shieldsy, new carpets, new rugs. Anything like that, anything porous would be fucking gone, in my opinion. Yes, Justin, it will be a weird relief to not get stupid shit from Trump coming out of the White House anymore. I mean, I hope the media just ignore him generally, but even if he keeps saying stupid shit, you go, well, at least he's just fucking nobody now. He's not the president. Yeah. Yes, Mofo's on an excellent quote. Nuke the White House from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. Slightly excessive, but okay. So the question was actually asked at the first presser, and the mentioned 500,000. Whoo! Yeah. Well, I don't think anyone's going to begrudge them that. Got to get the fucking Trump filth out of your house. Be very uncharitable for anyone to question that, quite honestly. Yeah, Megalith, just a good way to put it. Today felt lighter. I mean, there's actually some signs that some good policies are going to get put in place by the Biden administration. At the very least, like he's made a thing like day one, just going to get the worst, most fucked things that Trump did and get rid of them. That's job one. But, things like a $15 minimum wage, if it happens, would be excellent. Overdue and not enough, but, still good. And I really think the thing they really need to work on, besides, okay, they've obviously got to put a huge effort into trying to turn things around with COVID, because Trump has just driven the country into a ditch. 400,000 dead, 4,000 more a day, and the numbers ratcheting upwards. I really think the number's going to hit 10,000 a day before it comes down, because it's just a fucking nightmare what's happening there now. So he's obviously got the COVID response top of his list. He said they're getting serious about climate change. We'll see what happens there. And just from a purely self-preservation point of view, one of the things they really need to attack pretty aggressively is overthrowing the sort of voter suppression and gerrymandering that the Republicans have been going hell for leather on for the longest time. Because when you look at the numbers with the votes, and I'm not even talking about the Electoral College here, I'm just talking about votes. With the numbers of votes, you take away what the the Republicans have done with voter suppression and gerrymandering, and they're fucked. They just won't win anything. It would be so difficult for them to win a majority if you take away the two prongs of voter suppression and gerrymandering that they've spent so long putting in place. So just by making stuff fair, the Democrats would be doing themselves a huge favor. Just when we get really crazy shit now, Trump's out of office. Probably. I mean, we heard crazy shit, and it's just so hard to tell what was jokes and what was real because Trump is just such a weird person. Yes, I heard that. The tennis guy who complained about being in quarantine and wanted special treatment, and everyone went, get fucked. And now he's back down. He's going, oh, you took it the wrong way. It's like, fuck you, you privileged fucking prick. Australian Open should have been fucking cancelled. It's ridiculous. Unnecessary risk. But, you know, it's happening now, I guess. So there you go. Things I don't give a shit about. Rich people sports like tennis. And fuck, it was funny when the Sydney to Hobart, like no one cared. No one fucking cared when the Sydney to Hobart yacht race got cancelled at the last second, because it's just rich fucks in boats and no one knows any of them. It's kind of like, oh, it's exciting a little bit, you know, who's going to win? But, you know, it's just these rich fucks in their boats, and no one gave a shit. Like, you know, people were a bit frustrated with the football seasons getting messed up last year, and were worried about the cricket. And I guess there are people worried about the tennis too. Tennis just seems a bit more poncy to me. But yeah. Safa, Dan Andrews doesn't care about F1s. Yeah, fuck the Grand Prix. It's like the worst fucking thing. And again, I fucking laughed when they got cancelled last year. So, I mean, the depressing one that got shit canned last year is the comedy festival. And I don't think the comedy festival will go on this year because everything's too volatile, and it would be enforced to reduce crowds. Not that many of the shows sell out anyway, but it wouldn't be economical, and the actual organizers of the comedy festival showed themselves to be complete arseholes last year when, after it was cancelled, they wouldn't refund the performers their booking fee, which was super fucked. So I don't think people will trust them to do it. So I don't think the comedy festival will happen this year either. Well, I mean, we'll wait and see, but I don't think it will happen. Abigail, you glad the cricket wasn't cancelled? Been watching that? Yeah, there was. People were worried about cricket at the start of the season, but you know, the India tour went on, and apparently it was pretty exciting. So yeah. So that musical aviator LNP guy wanted Australian Open to go ahead until Dan said it's going ahead. Now the LNP say it shouldn't. The LNP suck so hard. So hard. But yes, the and good old Donut Dick, whatever his real name is, who clearly thinks he should be leader of the Liberal Party, clearly thinks he should be Premier of Victoria, and he's just been an absolute fucking cunt for the whole pandemic. And if the Liberals are ever stupid enough to give him the leadership, and the Victorian Liberal Party is pretty fucking stupid, but if they're ever stupid enough to give him the leadership, I hope Labor just go hard, just show every fucked, divisive, destructive thing that piece of shit said during the pandemic, just constantly undermining the public health message, constantly being a fucking asshole, constantly being proved wrong. And he's just a piece of shit, self-serving piece of shit. My first one is Australia got their ass kicked. I thought the last test that where India won, which sealed the series, was like kind of exciting, as in it was right down to it. Thanks, Danny. Yes, that's him. Tim Smith, Donut Dick. And for people who don't know why I call him Donut Dick, when we got our first double donut day in Melbourne, so it was like no new cases and no deaths after several really stressful months. The vast majority of Melbourne were justifiably excited getting our double donut day. And this dipshit who only like a month before had, because the actual goal at the end of lockdown was a rolling average of less than 5. And because the number was still kind of high a month before the deadline, dipshit was saying, why are they even saying that number? It's impossible that they'll reach it. We not only reached a rolling average of 5, we reached a rolling average of 0. And so, as I said, he's repeatedly been an asshole. He's repeatedly been wrong. And so when we're like going, woo, double donuts, he's going, oh, this is the number people should be thinking of. And he tried to do 800 with donuts. So it's like 2 donuts and then 2 out there. So it looked like a cock and balls. And because he's talking about the number of people who had died in Victoria during the pandemic, which is, a bad figure, honestly. But just like his complete failure to read the room, insisting on being so negative and so obnoxious and so divisive when people just wanted to, have a bit of joy and relief. But when he posted this on Twitter with what he thought looked like 800 with donuts, but everyone just went, that's a cock and balls. Why are you posting a picture of cock and balls? And hence Donut Dick. He's a piece of shit. He is seriously a piece of absolute shit. Nug, hi, how you doing? Yo, coming in just while I'm calling someone a piece of shit. Yes, but he is. He really, really is. Oh God, I made this drink today, and I think it's kind of fucking deadly. Oh, you haven't seen the new fridge. You haven't been here this week then, Nug. Yes, the fridge arrived on Monday, and it is very large and is closer to me than the white fridge used to be. Gives me more room in my work desk back there during the day. And it's one of those ones where the fridge is on the top and the freezer is on the bottom. I still sort of reach for the top when I'm going for ice. No, it's down there. Who was I talking about? Victorian conservative politician Tim Smith, who clearly thinks he should be in charge. And he's just been super negative, destructive voice during the whole pandemic and won't shut up, and he's always wrong. And he's a fucking piece of shit. So I was so full of hope because where I live is like the blue ribbon. It's all these Liberal Party seats in a row where I live. I was really hopeful several of them would get knocked off in the last election, and none of them did. That election sucked. Like, everyone was down on Queensland because the Queensland vote went so strongly to the LNP, and they were blaming Queensland. Like, no, it also couldn't have things went much better than expected for them in New South Wales and much better than expected for them in Victoria. It wasn't just Queensland. Queensland alone couldn't have swayed the election. If, the vote in New South Wales and Victoria had gone the way we were hoping, Labor would have got in. but it didn't, and that was super fucking depressing. Man, that was a bummer. That sucked so much. It's just like, I always bring this up. Like, I know because I've seen it in sort of lefty or Labor people online saying like, "Oh, you think I'm upset that Labor lost? No, I'm going to benefit." Blah blah blah. And I thought, no, you know what? If you're a Liberal Party supporter, you get to laugh at me because I was super fucking depressed. Locust Trooper, I didn't indeed get it from the good guys. It's one of the Chinese ones. What's it called? Hisense. But it was pretty good price. And much more energy efficient than my other fridge. So even though it's much larger than the other fridge I had, it'll use less energy. And because I also I had a little freezer here, and it's unplugged at the moment. So the circumstances might change and I might have to plug that one back in again. But, I'll be saving some money on energy, which is nice. Because the freezer in particular was really low efficiency. So, but this is good. And so I've got the only fridge, I've got a second fridge over there. So the Fisher and Paykel has got a good energy rating, and that's got a good energy rating. So I'll be saving some money. I obviously spent some money, but I hadn't bought a new fridge in a long time. And I think the other one was getting to the stage where it needed some repairs. So I thought, fuck it. So I'm good. So why is it going to be a pain for you to get in, Vic? I didn't know what's going on. Locust Trooper, they took the old fridge away. That was part of the deal. I sort of worked out that they would take it away, take it off my hands. The little freezer is in the shed because I might need it again. So it's awaiting further service, basically. Because, I didn't want to keep the old one because a big part of buying this fridge was saving energy. So I had no use for it. Peasant Proportion. No, they didn't swap brains. They did Face Off. Face Off was a documentary. That technology has actually existed since the 90s when Nicolas Cage and John Travolta did that documentary reenactment of the experimental Face Off technology as the QAnon truthers now know the face-off procedure was done on Biden and Trump. So though you think it's actually Biden in the White House, really, it's Trump. That's the truth. Locust Trooper, it's a house. I live in a house. A 1, 2, 3, 4 bedroom house. There's a spare room. There. So if you need to cross into Wodonga, taxi Wodonga to Wollongong. All right, so there's a bit of messing about. And it is probably going to be warm this weekend. Abigail, neighbors threw away TV. Obviously wasn't working. Fucking massive. You're going to try and fix it. Nice. That would be cool. They keep changing the weather prediction. Like we're trying to have like a YouTube meetup on Saturday. Now it's still only saying 28. It's Sunday and Monday that are going to be hot. Now they're saying 41 on Monday. God damn. But a cool change late on Monday. And maybe a bit of rain on Monday. So Sunday and Monday are going to be hot. Yes, we've got a study. Mrs. Angry uses that as her office while working from home. Used to be where I shot the Angry videos. But she needed private space for work, whereas I don't really. So I work here out in the open. Mofo Sign, we should have an episode where we talk about last 4 years as if it was a Trump TV show like House of Cards. Oh, dear. Yes, for 1 p.m. Behind Federation Square on Saturday. Be there or be I can't. Sorry, who watched? Has anyone watched Auntie Donna's show on Auntie Donna's show on Netflix? It was a fine bit of absurdist comedy. By the way, for this one of the characters says to the other one, "You've got to stop being such a cunt." Crack fired the entire video team. Yes, that was Facebook's fault. Facebook lied to all these companies about the statistics for the video views on Facebook. Like, Facebook was exaggerating the reach of things by like 90%. Like that, where they said something had 1 million views, in all truth, it was, you'd be like if it was 100,000. Like, Stripper, why don't I use a garage anymore? I moved houses. It was a different house where I used to do it in the garage. I moved like 3-4 years ago. But then we had a spare room, so I could do the videos in the spare room. So, no loss, really. Oh, yes, Noog, Machinima, Funny or Die. It was ridiculous, the fallout of that Facebook fuckery. I thoroughly agree with the guy who does the Behind the Bastards podcast. Mark Zuckerberg should be on trial in The Hague for crimes against humanity. Very, very, very bad business goes on at Facebook, quite honestly. So if we'll try and find somewhere to drink, I'm going to, I'm not going out in the evening. I'll be gone by about 6, but can find somewhere to pick up a drink. That is a weird coincidence, no? One of Machinima's execs got caught in the college admissions scandal. Alex Struber, no, there is a garage which has been sealed up, in much the same as last week's. When I called it was a garage, but it got sealed up so you couldn't use it as a garage. And I think someone was living in it before we moved in. And that became my studio. In here, the garage is just full of shit. Boxes of stuff we probably don't need I should clean out. The garage is just full of shit at the moment and has been for 3 years. So that's not good. Peasant proportion. Who's doing the queue stuff? The person doing the queue stuff has been fairly convincingly identified as a scammer by the name of Ron Watkins, who was running the 8chan board and pulled the scam. It's impossible to prove, but a couple people have done investigation that show fairly convincingly that he didn't start the Q thing, but because it was being posted on 8chan, he saw an opportunity and took it over. Very convincing investigation that was covered in a podcast I heard was probably started by a scammer and conspiracy peddler from South Africa, but then this other guy, who among other things runs child porn, took it over. So what time does Hoyt's Cinema usually close in Melbourne? On a Saturday, there's usually quite late showings, like at least till 9:30 at night. Locust Tripper, do I yell anyone on live streams? I had a few trolls earlier in the week, and I don't so much yell as just really aggressively tell them to get fucked. Probably raise my voice a bit, but I do really enjoy when some dickhead pokes their stupid, ugly head up, just going to town on them. And so, I did that a bit earlier in the week. Oh, hey, speaking of earlier in the week, anyone who was on the live stream on Sunday night might remember that Aidsy had a seizure right towards the end of the stream. He did get back up and he was there at the end of the stream. But I talked to him today and he is not doing well. He hasn't really recovered from that seizure at all. So he's basically not great. He might feel better tomorrow, so we might see him tomorrow, but he is wisely taking it easy because he's clearly suffering at the moment. Still alive, which is a plus. Oh, nice. Abigail's got a date. Yeah. As in proportion, why hasn't Q been uncovered by the FBI? Because no one fucking cares. No one fucking cares. I would wager there actually has been some investigation at an official level on this ridiculous bullshit. Who's behind it? But there, to the best of my knowledge, there are no laws against posting stupid shit on the internet. Because again, the Q postings, to the best of my knowledge, did not encourage people to violence. Trump did that. So, is AZ going to be 51 this year? I think you are correct, Locust Trooper. The reason there hasn't been an FBI investigation into Q is because no laws have been broken. Just on a preventative thing, I'm sure there has probably been someone looking into it. Like I said, because some internet sleuths found pretty compelling evidence of who it was who was behind it. I would not be at all surprised if the people whose job it is to keep an eye on just right-wing extremists who are the most dangerous terrorist threat to America at the moment, I wouldn't be surprised if they've checked and sort of told their bosses, oh, that whole Q thing is this fucking con man who's been running 8chan out of the Philippines. Locust Trooper, I was sort of worried about AZ outliving me, quite honestly. When I, had to get checked up because of a little cancer scare, I just thought, man, if I've got cancer, which I don't, apparently, although there are still some final tests to come through to be really, really sure. I was like, God, if I've got cancer, if he fucking outlives me, I'm going to haunt the bastard so much. Megaleech, which laws do you think would be anti-religion? Laws that stop people from saying dumb shit on the internet. Yes, actually, Murphys, I knew you raise a good point. If the Biden regime said they were proposing any new laws to deal with right-wing terrorism, those laws would be used to repress other people, left-wing people. They don't need any new laws. These fuckwits are, breaking existing laws, basically. So what's the chance of you getting COVID on Saturday? Basically zero. I don't think we've had any positive cases in Melbourne for 2 weeks. I mean, obviously it's not absolutely zero. We can't guarantee it's absolutely zero, but by any meaningful measure of the term, there is basically no chance of you contracting COVID on Saturday. But never say never. You never know. I like that, Abigail. After the second day, you can probably stop announcing you have date. It's not super special after that. Maybe. I don't get what you're asking there, Locust Trip. What will be age limit? It will be around 77. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Or you don't want to live past 77? You probably won't think that when you hit your 70s. Peasant proportion. Do I believe in false flags? I don't believe in dumbass conspiracy theories. The phrase false flag is based on things that have happened many, many, many times in history with slight variations. It was a marine term because the ships used to fly flags saying who they represented. And sometimes people would fly a false flag so they could get close to their target and then suddenly go, ha ha, we weren't French at all, we're Spanish, now we're going to pillage you, ha ha ha. And it came to be a generic term for when someone claims, oh, that was done by that bad person, and it wasn't. It's like how the Spanish-American War got started. The Spanish-American War was started on false pretenses. Yes, I don't know that Berejiklian moaning about the Victorian rules with borders is hypocritical. It's whiny, and it's like pretty clear that the authorities in Melbourne are saying that shit you do in Sydney, that's like really high risk, and so far you've managed to dodge the bullet, but that high risk strategy you have. So look, peasant proportion, don't fuck around. If you want to ask a question, ask a question. Don't go round and fucking round with dumb bullshit. If you think something recently was a false flag, just fucking say so. And yes, Locust Trooper, it is somewhat of a relief that Trump's gone from the White House. Just, you know, the feeling of being normal is, it's weird. Trump was so bad, the bar has been set low, so low, that all Biden has to do is be kind of boring and everyone's gonna fucking worship him. Actually, I will very soon start complaining about Biden supporters virtually deifying him and acting like the sun shines out of his ass and he's perfect. And he's not. He's really fucking shitty, honestly. But yeah, and man, Biden supporters and Harris supporters are just going to spend 4 years posting cringe to the internet. It's going to be painful. Like, do I think Americans would vote another idiot like Trump or Bush in a fucking heartbeat? Just give him a chance. There's a lot of people, having seen just a vile fucking buffoon like Trump achieve what he achieved, they've gone, well, fuck me. If that blundering fucking oaf can do that, I can do better. And a lot of these people are real fucking dangerous. So the fact of Trump getting elected shows there is no bottom. There is no one who is too awful for Republicans to elect them. Good question, Safa. Who's more idiotic, Trump or Bush? They're stupid in different ways. Bush is just really, really not intelligent and also did awful things. Started an illegal war on false evidence that killed over 1 million people and cost trillions of dollars. Bush is a fucking abomination. Everyone goes, makes me miss Bush. No, Bush was a fucking abomination. But he wasn't an oath. Trump's an oath. It's just like, ugh. It's like Bush is, this is giving away my age. Bush is Alfred E. Newman, the mascot of Mad Magazine, and Trump is Homer Simpson without being funny. Peasant proportion, fuck off if you're going to bring up 9/11. Seriously, only absolute fucking cunts say anything about 9/11 was an inside job. It's incredibly fucking obvious what happened on 9/11. Yeah, great Pixie. The only thing Biden has going for him is he's a basic human. He reaches just basic human standards of decency. Yeah, I hope he surprises me. I hope his administration puts in good policies, and I will pledge to applaud any positive thing that Biden does. And just all the just not being awful, I won't applaud that, but I will be relieved by it. I will be relieved by it. I will be relieved that, yes, peasant proportion, Bush did start a war on false evidence. Iraq had absolutely nothing to do with 9/11, and everyone fucking knows it. The most guilty party was Saudi Arabia, who were never touched. Afghanistan was invaded because they believed that's where bin Laden was, because it's where he had been in the past. And you notice when it's found he had been in Pakistan and had been in Pakistan for a long time, there was no retaliation on Pakistan. So when I say war on false pretenses, I was saying the invasion of Iraq was on absolutely false pretenses, completely falsified evidence. The people falsifying it knew they were falsifying it, and they killed over 1 million people and burnt trillions of dollars. Safa, Iraq was complicated. It wasn't just oil reserves. It was to do with how the people who were actually running the Bush administration, which was not Bush, viewed the world, and they believed Saddam Hussein was a threat to how they wanted to run the world. Like if you ask AZ always says it's because Iraq threatened to trade oil in rubles instead of American dollars, or euros instead of American dollars. It was slightly more complicated than that, but there did seem to be an actual real delusion that if they overthrew Saddam, they would then miraculously be greeted as liberators, and Iraq would be a flower of democracy in the Middle East, and all the other countries would go, look how good that is. We all love America too, which was just some weird, fucked up thinking. Absolutely weird, fucked up thinking. And also, they were all enriching themselves to the tune of billions of dollars. Like Halliburton siphoned off billions and billions of dollars with no big contracts. It was criminal. It was absolutely criminal. Cheney is a fucking criminal. Trump is just a ghost criminal. Cheney is a really fucking evil and focused criminal. And yes, Safa, the US action in Iraq directly led to ISIS, 100%. Yeah, no, Iraq, America basically completely fucked Iraq. Yes, and you can absolutely point to awful shit done under the Hussein regime by Saddam and his sons. Just awful, awful, awful shit. The Americans just made it way fucking worse. They made it so much fucking worse. Like, Shub, what do I think about Obama? He's super keen on drone striking people. Like, I mean, Obama's a neoliberal. He's you know, I liked some of his sort of progressive social policies. He lived in this bizarre fantasy world that he'd be able to work with the Republicans and they weren't just colossal shitheads. And like he just carried on US military attacks all through the Middle East that were fucked, and backing Saudi Arabia, particularly with the horrific war crimes Saudi Arabia is guilty of in Yemen. So Libya basically was invaded. That was American action that overthrew Gaddafi in Libya. And they fucked that too. They absolutely fucked Libya. Again, Gaddafi, bad guy, right? Not a great guy. And they made Libya worse. They made Afghanistan worse. They made Iraq worse. They've made Syria worse. Basically made the whole fucking world worse. And like all Trump's fuckery, public fuckery is so extreme, people don't even realize he actually escalated bombings and drone strikes. But I thought Obama was champion drone striker. Trump actually increased bombings and drone strikes in the Middle East, and it just never got any press because on the scale of things, it didn't interest people. So, yeah, what'll Biden do? Fuck knows. Absolutely fuck knows. I have no idea what Biden will do in terms of foreign policy. Oh, no, the School of the Americas. Again, I feel like a broken record repeatedly bringing up the Behind the Bastards podcast, but he does great research. And the School of the Americas, I think it started in the mid-20th century. And it's basically the source of, in the mid to late 20th century, how the US kept overthrowing elected governments in South America, particularly. Their view, like particularly post-World War II, of protecting America's interests, which meant interfering in the running of other countries, overthrowing democratically elected leaders because they were socialists. School of the Americas is fucking evil. Again, probably responsible for millions of deaths. Yeah. American foreign policy, eh? Oh, yeah, Kirsten. I think I got you obsessed with Behind the Bastards. It's very good. The host, he does such good research. He really does. Like he usually reads, and I don't mean he goes on websites, I mean he reads books. He reads like scholarly research into the thing he's talking about. Robert Evans, he's a bit of a ledge. Raiders, I haven't watched the LA vid yet. No. I remember that you sent it to me. I had forgotten. Now I remember that you sent it to me. I'm old and absent-minded. That's my excuse. Yes. No, the term Banana Republic was coined. What was the company? Was there actual a banana company that convinced the US government to interfere and overthrow a government? Kirsten, he's not ugly. Okay. You find his voice soothing. You want to look up what he looks like. He doesn't look like I expected. I think his voice makes him sound older than he is. He's a bit beardy. Some of the photos he uses for publicity is like when he was in a fucking war zone. So this is probably. Look, I'm going to take away the mystery now, Kirsten. This is probably a pretty good picture of him. So that's Robert Evans. Like, these are sexy war zone pictures. Like this one. He's firing a gun. So that's like one of his sexy war zone pictures. Oh, there's the unflattering. Oh, that's tiny though. Unflattering zoom picture. So he was interviewed by Four Corners to talk about the Christchurch terrorist and radicalization. So that's basically what he looks like. A beardy dude. Not really what I imagined what he would look like, honestly. So, yeah. Abigail, you can't stand beards. Thank you. Wow, AgroPixie, homeschooling's illegal in Germany. That's weird. Locust Trooper, would China start doing what America does and invade other countries? Only places that they think are already theirs, like Hong Kong and Taiwan, which I don't agree with. But I think the world has been really lucky that China has been very inwardly focused for many decades. Because the world would be fucked if China was expansionist and interventionist like the US. The world would be majorly fucked. So we've been very lucky that for decades they've been very inwardly focused. That's right. They've got a bit of megalithic. They've got a bit of shit going on with Tibet, and they fight on the Kashmir border with India too. So, but that's literally their borders. All these places, Tibet, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and again, this is bad. What they're doing is bad. I am not defending. I'm not a tanky. I am not defending them. But I'm just saying at least those bits are all on their borders. Still shitty. Still very shitty. Kirsten, you'll have beardy lumberjack dudes and you're married to a clean-shaven accountant. What are you going to do? Robert Evans is more the beardy lumberjack guy, Texas-born, bit of a survivalist into guns and whatnot. So, yeah, but he's a really good researcher. Like, he's a proper journalist, investigates stuff. No, what China is doing in Africa is really interesting, and I certainly don't know the full story. But yes, they have been investing in a lot of countries in Africa. And in many cases, there's a worry that they're making people dependent on them. Musical Aviator. Speaking of beard, someone had the 2021 calendar of Hottie Sutton photos. Raiders, no, I don't think anyone's mentioned the Sanders meme, which was kind of a high point of the Biden inauguration. Bernie Sanders sitting in a chair by himself with a heavy jacket and his mittens and a hat pulled. And it's just tickled people's fancies. And there's already hundreds of memes of Bernie sitting in that seat and just putting him in different situations. People are funny. Locust Tripper, did China try to buy a lot of Australia? Well, it depends what you mean by a lot. Mostly it's bullshit. And mostly it's the federal government being really keen to sell whatever they can to China to keep the budget afloat. But I honestly couldn't give you a conclusive answer to, how much of Australia's being sold off to China, because I know some people are really fixated on it, which, given the people who fixate on it, I automatically think it's bullshit. But I couldn't, in all honesty, give you an accurate answer on. Wait, we're on the internet. What would happen if I typed how much of Australia? Wow, it auto completes to does China own? Dun dun dun. News.com, I think we'll fucking ignore that. And the Daily Mail, and that obviously racist website. I was hoping for a credible source. Let me see. Yep, I'm just seeing a bunch of sensationalistic racist shit. What's this from 2017? Amount of Australian farmland owned by Chinese interests has surged tenfold in the past year. In a year, that's a big increase in 1 year, climbing above 14 million hectares, 2.5% of all agricultural land. Well, that's interesting. Foreigners now own up to a quarter of all agricultural land in the Northern Territory and Tasmania, 14% of all farms across the country. Wowzers. So, and that's 4 years ago. So I don't know what it is now. And 4 years ago, it went up really fast. So who knows? Safa, do I think most Australians are internal, don't care about global events much? I can't really speak for most Australians. I don't know. I think there's not a lot of people who are obsessed like me. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that. I don't know how you would answer that. I don't know if anyone's done surveys on it. Anyone reputable has done any surveys with good methodology that would give you an idea of that. Anything I said would be pure guesswork, and so wouldn't actually mean anything. So, yep, my answer is I just don't know. I don't know, Abigail. The 9/11 dude didn't have much fucking spine, is all I'm saying. It's kind of like he was shitting me because he was a coward. He was just doing coward weasel shit, and I don't like that. Shields, you think some farms are being sold back to Australian owners? I have no idea, man. I literally no idea. Well, Raiders, not only is politics here more boring than the US, in all seriousness, in really practical ways, US foreign and domestic policy can affect our lives more than the Australian government does. If the Americans do something big on the world stage, it can have more effect on our lives than anything our own government does. So I didn't block him because he was just kind of pathetic. Like I've seen the idiot Sapensa. That might have been one of the trolls from earlier in the week. That sounds vaguely familiar. And there's a couple I did block because they're just dumb as shit and a waste of time. What's this? What's this? Look, a pretty green drink. Ooh, it looks colorless on there. It's a very light green. Very washed out colors on this webcam, and I don't really know why. But I just made that today, milk clarified drink, and I'm going to try it and see what it's like. Why not? Have a drinky. Let me grab the glass. and some ice. Get my little rocks glass and get a big rock of ice to put in it. Alright. Come on. Jesus. Why doesn't that ice want to come out? There you go. Ice back in. Right. Oh. Has the green gone again? I have all the colours gone on this webcam. Lightly sick green. There you go. Yeah, that's a fair call. I'm going to taste it because this is an absinthe drink. A little bit of ASMR of cork. Ice crack a bit. Like the sound of ice cracking. Ice gets to choose when it's comfortable enough to come out. Yeah, I had to make the ice comfortable. Chill my drink a little bit. My dad, I remember when I were a lad, had this glass chiller. I think it was like used a bottle of compressed air and had this little nozzle, and you put a little platform and you put a glass over it, pushed it down, and because it was a closed space, because the compressed air is liquid when it's in the canister, and this thing, because the glass was around the release, it was still super cool liquid when it came out, and it would instantly vaporize and like hit the glass, and it's a little was it exothermic or endothermic heat reaction anyway, and would like instantly chill your glass. Oh, nice. Agro Pixie sent me the info on German homeschooling on Twitter. I will check it out. Like true father and son story. Yes. So yeah, he had this. It was an instant glass chiller. It's a thing I haven't seen for a while. Not sure it was completely safe, in all seriousness. Oh, that's good. Oh, well, that's really good. I put some pineapple juice in it. But it's got the it's got the licorice. That's the word I was trying to think of. The licorice flavor of absinthe, but not in a harsh way. Abigail. Oh, exothermic and endothermic refer to chemical reactions. Okay. So loss of heat from the phase change isn't called that. It wasn't the gas expanding. What it is it's the compressed gas is kept more or less artificially as liquid, and the instant it touches air, it wants to turn into vapor. So it comes out as liquid that is super cold, and then almost instantly turns to a vapor. Like you can really injure yourself with these things. If this liquid from these compressed air canister gets on your skin, it'd give you frostbite. I'm assuming this guy Sapenza is on YouTube. Let me see. Nice haircut, dude. Jesus. All right. So what? He's in China. He's obsessed by China from the looks of things. Okay, so he's a, okay. I don't think I'll waste any time on him. Oh yeah, so it changes face to a gas, gets in. Yeah, so this funny little thing would instantly chill a glass. So yeah. Raiders. The trouble with a thermos would be, how would you get the ice out of the thermos? For instance, this is how I make my clear ice with insulated coffee cups, which are essentially thermoses, but they're completely open. So the ice melts a bit, you can get it out. So yes, a thermos would do, an open thermos would do directional freezing, but how would you get the ice out is the thing. So insulated coffee mugs is how I make clear ice. So because it can't freeze from the sides because of the insulation, so it freezes from the top down, which pushes all the impurities down. And then you just cut the impurities off the end. All right. Yep. So this guy is super racist against Chinese. Fair enough. Well, not fair enough. He's a shithead. I can't see myself wasting any time on him. I mean, thanks for telling me about him, but it's not something I really want to spend time on. You know, there are all sorts of fuckwits in the world. I don't really feel like I need to expose myself to them, waste time on them. We say Joe Biden marks the start of his presidency with a flurry of executive. What executive orders did he do? COVID-19. They include things about COVID-19, the environment, immigration, and ethics. Okay, so he got rid of Trump's travel ban from Muslim-majority countries, ended the declaration of a national emergency used to justify funding the construction of a wall on the US-Mexico border, signed an order allowing the United States to rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement, for whatever the fuck that's worth, but, you know, we'll see. Signed an order to mandate mask wearing and social distancing in federal building and lands. Revoked the permit granted for the controversial Keystone XL pipeline, which I thought was an Obama thing. Instructed all executive agencies to review executive actions that were damaging to the environment or unsupported by best available science. Ordered executive branch employees to sign an ethics pledge. Placed limits on their ability to lobby the government while he's in office. Ordered federal agencies to review equity and existing policies, come up with a plan to address inequality. Signed 15 executive orders. Okay. So, yeah. There we go. No, speaking of fuckwits, have I heard about Tory Fisheries Minister not reading the Brexit agreement because they're too busy planning a nativity play? That sounds right for a Tory. Hello, Annette. Welcome back. And hello, Patman Sport. Greetings to you too. So my milk clarified absinthe drink is a winner. I'm gonna. Oof. I'm gonna make this drink on the live stream tomorrow night for my cocktail channel. It's too strong. But maybe I've got to do it. Okay, so what do I have to do first to get in order? I had something. Burns night. Monday is Burns night. I've got to do a Burns night cocktail. So Abigail, Paris Climate Accords, basically zero net carbon 2050. Business-friendly climate change management. Yeah. Not good. Not good. I'm going to say, what date is it on Monday? The 25th. Yes, it's Burns night on Monday. Bobby Burns, the Rob Roy. Ooh, I think I'll do David Embry's Bobby Burns. So it's Scotch, Sweet Vermouth, Drambuie, and Peyshaw's bitters. All booze. Like me an all booze drink. Yes, there's a few variations on a Bobby Burns. There's one that's Scotch, Sweet Vermouth, and Benedictine. One that's Scotch, Sweet Vermouth, bitters, and absinthe. This one's Scotch, Sweet Vermouth, Drambuie, and bitters. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I think I'll do that one. The Embry, Bobby Burns. Yes, Glee, good for Biden, definitely. Locust Trooper, will Australia-China relationship happen? The absence of Trump will help. The removal of Morrison would help more. I don't think Labor are capable of removing Morrison, which is a shame. Morrison's just a fuckwit. Honestly, he sucks so hard. No, Raiders, I never went to the Robbie Burns in Smith Street. I did not. So I got to at least make the Burns night cocktail. And then I was thinking of doing this absinthe one. It's called a Yellow Bird. Because you're meant to use green absinthe, but I've got blue absinthe. So when I make it, it ends up being green. And it's a bit fucking intense, quite honestly. Yeah, it's just a bit fucking intense. And so then I made an alternative. I was taste testing this afternoon, and the absinthe version, because my absinthe is like 80% alcohol. It's pretty intense, and a full shot of it in a cocktail is pretty intense, and it's a bit strong. So I did taste test a bit strong, and then I did another. I thought an alternative replaced the absinthe with green chartreuse, and that was more palatable. And then I milk clarified. I put them both in the thing and milk clarified it, and came up with this really quite yummy drink. I might do that again tomorrow night. There's the big question, Safa. The earliest acceptable time to be having a drink during the day. It would depend very much on your day and what was going on. I mean, it's not that uncommon to have a drink with lunch, like particularly if you're sitting down with people for lunch. I think that's perfectly acceptable. And yeah, it depends if you're on night shifts. You know, as Raider said, 7 a.m. is your evening if you're on night shift. Sun over the yardam, some people say, which means afternoon. But then, you get those brunches on the weekend where they do mimosas and whatnot. You know, day drinking generally gets frowned upon. It's just convention. Like I said, despite my collection there, and I work just there, I have not had a single drink during the workday since I've been working from home, which is like 9 months ago. So yeah, willpower. I mean, I'll admit I look at them. I definitely look at them, but I have not fixed myself any drinks during a workday. If we're not trading with China as Australian economically doing, look, I think successive governments, both Labor and LNP, have made stupid fucking mistakes with trade with China. If trade with China stopped altogether, I mean, that would hurt China as well, but it would probably hurt Australia more. Yeah, I'm not a fan of any sort of foreign trade policy that any Australian government's had for a while now, quite honestly. Fucking clowns. But yes. That's good. No, that's really good, actually. It's just got the little licorice flavor from the absinthe without like smacking you in the face. So it's basically, it just sort of tastes sort of lightly fruity and with a bit of licorice, which is just real nice. Could Australia's economy end up like Greece? Anything's possible. International economics is fucking bullshit, honestly. We're still getting little packages from China. Nice. Oh god, I don't think the stuff I ordered's coming from China. I think it's coming from America. I ordered some bar accoutrements, a cocktail shaker, and a juice squeezer. I have no idea when that's coming. Could take forever. Who knows? Maybe I've been ripped off and it's never going to arrive. I don't know. I ordered a few things during COVID that took 6-8 weeks to arrive, but it eventually arrived. I had this notification that something coming. I go, ooh, what is it? I don't know what it is. And I go, real surprise. It was actually a comic that was from my standing order from the local comic shop that they mail it to me now rather than me going to the shop. Like, Strippy, you think the UK has 30 to 40% of the population in poverty? I don't know what your source for that is. I literally have no idea how accurate that is. So, Reid, is abalone prices in Tassie affordable for a change due to lack of exports? Apparently that was the same with lobster over Christmas. I was half going to look into it and then I forgot. And I like lobster. I'm just not really into it and I don't know that I can cook it well. But yes, apparently a few luxury things have become more affordable because there was less being exported. Kirsten, about meetup. Thinking meet Patient Wolf Store at 7 p.m. to it. Hey, let's do it. Let's Kirsten, I've been meaning let's set up a group chat to talk about that. I think that sounds like a fine idea. We'll see if we have to do it. Ooh, Starward whiskey at Coles was $60. That would have been the twofold, I assume. Was it? Because I think they had the Nova on special for about $80. Oh, wait. That's news. I'm just obsessively going to look up some Coles prices, Coles Liquorland. Let's see what prices there. Fuck off. Fucking website design from hell. Okay. Coles selling Starwood this week. Twofold is $65, down from $72. And Nova's $80, down from $97. Ooh. And what are they selling for at Dan's? Because Dan's always says they beat prices, but they might not know this one. Let's have a look. Starwood. Dan's. So twofold is $64.90, so just cheaper. But Nova's $85, and that's a member thing. That's interesting. Although theoretically, if you go into Dan's and show them the ad from Coles, they'll sell you for the same price as it's selling at Coles. Oh, and the sample pack is $5 off. That's not much. So $80 for Nova at Coles. So that's $15 cheaper than the normal Dan's price. Yeah. And Nova's very good. Raiders, UK poverty rate stable at 22%. Jesus, that's not great though, 22%. Yes, Kirsten. Australian spirits are expensive because they pay a living wage a team, and 2/3 of the cost is taxation. That is absolutely true. I certainly don't begrudge any of the prices from local distillers in Australia. So. Locust Trooper, you have a hobby of traveling. I do not have any hobbies apart from doing YouTube stuff. Yeah, I actually don't. Making cocktails. Yes. Just thinking, is making cocktails a hobby? I can call it a hobby. That's a thing. But yeah, that's the things I do to keep myself busy. Do YouTube stuff and make cocktails. Oh, Safa, I don't know. I was just floating the idea there. But at the very least, I'll catch up with you on Saturday anyway. Oh, and this thing I was talking about is not for this Saturday, by the way. So unless you're planning on making multiple trips to Melbourne. US poverty is 9.2%. Yeah, I'm not sure. You've obviously found a world poverty hiatus. Yeah, Kirsten, the spirit super tax has gotten a bit weird. And I think you and others have highlighted it is past time for the Australian government to realise the potential, for the spirit industry in Australia. It should be supported to the degree that the wine industry in Australia is supported. Like a hobby back in the day before on YouTube. Depends what you call a hobby. The short answer is honestly probably no. Some people would call reading a hobby. I did a lot of that. Just not a hobby person, really. Also, you're asking me to remember like more than 15 years in the past. So I don't really remember what I was doing 15 years in the past because I am old and my brain has turned to mush and I don't remember things. Yes, Glee, I'm not about to defend cigarettes, that's for sure. I think cigarettes should be taxed to the point no one does it, but I think it's possible to drink in moderation. I don't really think it's possible to smoke in moderation, and the health cost of smoke, mind you, the health cost from alcohol abuse is pretty fucking bad too. So Kirsten, you're saying wine pays between 14 and 17% tax, and spirits is about 64%. Yeah. There's a disparity. There's a disparity going on there. Maybe she's a hobby person like a hobby horse. Depends what your hobby is. Sometimes I think they might be very much like a hobby horse. If you get my drift. Geez, that was a terrible wink. I was trying to do a conspiratorial lewd wink, and I think I fucked it up completely. So, Safi, you've never smoked. Neither have I. Like a stripper, early 2000s hobby was having a lot of sex in your youth. Well, that's a good way to spend your youth, quite honestly. Well, see, Abigail, it wasn't meant to be kink shaming. That's what the wink was about, you know. Hobby horse, know what I mean? But yes, some people like to dress up like horses, including butt plugs with tails on them. And if that's your thing, you're not going to hurt anyone else. That's all cool. Yeah, okay. That's when it would get difficult, Abigail. If kink shaming was your kink, how do we stop you? Because that's kink shaming to try and stop you. Oh, that's quite the conundrum. That is a serious conundrum you've presented there. Don't know how we work our way out of that. It's kind of like what I say about that absolute fucking tool American Ben Shapiro, who's just stupid as fuck, but for a decade or so he's had rich right wing. It's because there were R's and W's in there, it was messing me up. For about a decade or so he's had rich right wing people telling him he's smart, and he believed them, and he is not smart. He is really fucking stupid, and he repeatedly says stuff publicly that's just dumb as shit. Like, it's embarrassing how stupid the things that come out of his mouth hole are. And so I've come to the theory, the reason he keeps saying these stupid fucking things publicly and getting humiliated is that his kink is actually public humiliation. And we're all enabling him when we pile on Twitter and goes, geez, Ben, you are stupid as fuck, aren't you? And he's just lying there pinching his nipples going, yes, I am. Tell me how stupid I am. That's my theory. Anyway. Oh, yeah, Raiders, Dave Rubin. What a fuck. But Dave Rubin's just, he's another, it's just a grifter. He's just saying shit that he thinks will make him money. And it's not really working out the way he wants because he's a fucking idiot. But yes. Oh yeah, no, that's the all-time classic quote from Harry H. Bomber Guy when Shapiro said that even if the coastal waters rose, people would just sell their houses. Sell them to who, Ben? Fucking Aquaman. Oh God, Raiders, Rita Panihi she's evil. She is an evil, soulless fucking monster. She is fucking awful. But yeah, the fact she promotes those fucking bitches. And Lauren Southern, the white supremacist, is now has a gig on fucking Sky News, and she gets upset if you point out she's a white supremacist. She takes it, and it's like your whole fucking history is promoting white supremacist conspiracies, the Great Replacement, trying to murder refugees, fucking just gross bigotry again and again and again. Although it was as funny, her and some others, women who were prominent in the alt-right, getting miffed that men in the alt-right treat them like shit. And it's like, oh no, are they treating you like you want to treat non-white people? That's terrible. Oh, who would have known that a bunch of regressive right-wing fuckwits would have negative attitudes to women? Who knew? It's like, fucking hell. Safas Shapiro on Q&A a couple of years ago. Oh, that's sad. There was the funny thing from a couple of years ago where he's getting interviewed by an old Tory on the BBC, and he just lost his shit because the guy wouldn't let him off the hook, like wouldn't just let him spout a platitude and move on. He's just going like, no, you're saying people should be civil, and you're not. You're really offensive. And he's going like, and he's like, well, but you keep saying people should be civil, but you're not civil. And he's, oh, you're just a liberal. And this guy's like a real old school Tory who just laughed at him when he said, the fact that someone was actually pursuing the truth with its well-known left-wing bias. And yes, no, that the women in the alt-right being upset about being treated like shit by men in the alt-right. It was a real leopards eating my face moment. For those who didn't know, that meme is someone saying, well, I never dreamt the leopards would eat my face, says woman who voted for leopards eating people's faces party. It's like when someone's agenda is based on hate and bigotry, and then they get surprised when they end up on the receiving end of that hate and bigotry. It's like, no, the hate and bigotry isn't meant to hit me. It's meant to hit other people. And it's like, yeah, well, it's a fucking risk you run when your whole movement's about hate and bigotry, basically. Locust Trooper, which city's better, Sydney or Melbourne? Probably depends what you mean by better and what your values are. I lived in Sydney for 10 years and I quite enjoyed it. I've been in Melbourne for, 24 years now, coming up on 24 years. And never for a second thought about moving back to Sydney. Not for a second. Melbourne is way better to live in. Oh, yeah, no, that's another good one. The TERFs, who have taken to siding with these right-wing fuckheads because, again, these old school sort of third-wave feminists who become TERFs because they don't understand transgender issues. And they end up siding with these right-wing fucking monsters because they have their shared turfiness, their transphobia to identify with each other in. And then, these women get surprised when they move in those circles and the men in those circles treat them like absolute shit. So, yeah. Yeah, so like I said, it's down to what's important to you. That which city is better, there's no objectively true answer to it. There are a million variables that would go around you what city was best for you. Like I said, I lived in Sydney for 10 years and I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. I was there. Then moved to Melbourne more than 20 years ago. Never for a second did I ever consider going back to Sydney. I barely even visit Sydney. In that 24 years, I've probably been to Sydney half a dozen times. I'd be surprised if it was more than half a dozen times that I've gone back just for a visit. Yeah, Raiders. Sydney has some very pretty elements, but it's definitely a pain in the ass to get around. It is much easier to live in Melbourne. When I was living in Sydney, and you get these things about Melbourne being the most livable city in the world, it just laughed because it sounds stupid and it sounds pathetic. It sounds like a really weak, half-assed thing to claim. I'm the most livable city in the world. You go, what does that even fucking mean? That's pathetic. And then you live here and you go, oh, that's what it means. Oh, everything's easier. Everything about Melbourne is easier than Sydney. Stella, good evening. Oh, I'm glad you got to drop in just before home time. Oh, yeah, Abigail, next time you get to Sydney, give them the present of right angles. Yeah, because Melbourne was a planned city, which is why our CBD is all right angles, whereas Sydney, they just paved over the meandering horse tracks that the first settlers made, which is why you have those really fucking stupid twisty roads in the CBD. Locust Trooper, what do I love about Melbourne? Love's probably a strong word. It's just easy. It is just easy to live here. I appreciate, and again, this is a bit of a cliche, but I appreciate the culture in Melbourne more than Sydney. Sydney gives off a vibe that's more like surface level glamour, whereas Melbourne's actually more interesting. Oh God, Stella, you didn't realize the time. God damn, you're working overtime. You must be. It's like nearly 7 p.m. where you are. Time got away from you. So music Ever, you actually grew up in Sydney. Parents and a great deal of friends live there. So I grew up in the country and then moved to Sydney and then moved to Melbourne. So that's sometimes. So it was really funny. Also, when I lived in Sydney, I didn't know. No, it's not strictly true. I had one or two friends who were from Sydney. So it's kind of like everyone I knew moved to Sydney. They weren't from Sydney. It's not. I just realized it's not strictly speaking true. I had some friends from uni who were from the Northern Beaches, and they actually grew up in Sydney. But it was a really funny thing that the circles I moved in, none of the people were from Sydney. They all moved there. Yes, and like that, AZ's spot on. We said when you go to Sydney, when you go out, you have to front all the time. There's a real attitude in Sydney. And also the difference with traffic's like you got to be careful in traffic in Sydney with bad drivers and whatnot. You got to be careful with bad drivers in Melbourne. I always said the difference between the traffic in Sydney and Melbourne. And Sydney, the bad drivers, when you just narrowly avoid accidents, those people are actually actively trying to kill you. They're super fucking angry and they did that on purpose and they're trying to kill you. In Melbourne, when you got to put up with bad drivers and just narrowly miss accidents, they're just stupid as fuck. That to me was the big difference between driving in Sydney and Melbourne. In Sydney, they're actually trying to kill you. In Melbourne, they're just shitty drivers. Abigail, what does it mean to front all the time? That means put up a facade, constantly be sort of pushing out, and you have to put on a front, basically. And Sydney's all attitude, and Melbourne has an attitude, but it's different. Sydney's like go, 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 push, 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 and Melbourne is the sort of the bad attitude. The bad attitude in Melbourne is disappear up your own ass. the bad attitude in Sydney is this, sort of a fake persona, like Annette, puff up your chest. Just always be this huge. You got to be a tough guy. You can't fuck with me. I'll fuck with you first. I think you were going to fuck with me, so I'm going to preempt and fuck you. And yes, Melbourne's more laid back, but I think a bad attitude in Melbourne is people who kind of disappear up their own arse with their wankery behaviour. But yeah, I just find Melbourne so much easier to live in than Sydney. So much less stress. It's easier to get around. The people are less stressful. It's like the one good thing Jeff Kennett did when he was Premier was relax licensing laws. So there were actually venues in the city and like little venues and whatnot. So it's good. I like that musical elevator. If you're in Melbourne, you need to change lanes, put your blinker on. There's no room to be let in. Let it blink for 5 minutes. In Sydney, don't put the blinker on. They'll just figure what you're up to. Yeah, Sydney's just way more aggressive than Melbourne. Oh, yeah, and Annette, yeah, all the fronting. It's all show because everyone's putting on a show, so everyone feels like they have to put on a show. Because, look, everyone else is doing that. I better do that, and don't realise that everyone's faking it. It's ridiculous. Raiders, that is a very good call. The walk from Coogee to Bondi is stunning. And those surf beaches right there near the CBD, that is something special. I mean, like, we have to go out past Geelong for a surf beach. But those eastern suburbs surf beaches right there by the CBD, that is pretty special, actually. And that some tough nuts, you can't tell which one they are. God, one of them almost got me. I still remember this because it was really fucking freaky. I think it was not long after I saw Once Were Warriors, and I was always scared some character like Jake the Muck would fucking get me. I was going to the good old Sandringham Hotel in Newtown and to see a band, just when I got near I was just in my own little world. I'm just walking up the street. I was probably looking at the footpath, and some people came towards me, and it was not far from the pub. And I looked up, and they were just about past me. And this guy was really quite big, and I sort of saw out of the corner of my eye, his face looked really red, and I kind of went, "What's that about?" And he just lunged at me and grabbed, I think I was wearing a leather jacket because I was a groover, sort of grabbed at my shoulder, but his hand slipped off. And I sort of jumped out of his way. And it was only a few steps to the door of the Sando, so I just fucking ducked inside. And I worked out afterwards, he had probably just been thrown out of the Sando, like the bouncer had just fucking turfed him. So he was really fucking angry. And I had the affront to look at him, and he was going to punch the fucking shit out of me because I had the effrontery to look at him. And like I said, I was just in a world of my own. And so just by pure chance, I think I narrowly avoided getting the shit kicked out of me. But yeah. Locust Trooper, did I get the console? I don't know what you mean by that. And, oh, your musical aviator, your walk, Sydney Conservatorium of Music down to Circular Quay. 4 days a week you did that. So from the Opera House, Harbour Bridge to the Botanical Gardens. That's also a nice walk. But yeah, the eastern suburbs beaches were nice too. And there was, there's a cemetery in the eastern suburbs. It's on a hill that just looks out over the ocean, which is spectacular. Oh, new consoles. No, I'm pretty sure I've had conversations about that. I will not be getting, I don't think I'll ever get an Xbox because I've just never had an Xbox. So I've got a PlayStation games. I won't be getting a PS5 inside of the next year. Like I didn't get a PS4 till like 4 years after it came out. Yes, Annette, I think it's Waverley Cemetery that I'm thinking of, yes. Annette, did I do the gauntlet at Redfern Station? I used to live just up the street from Redfern Station. So I was regularly getting out Redfern and then walking up into Chippendale, which meant walking past Everleigh Street. Some little shit of a kid actually threw a rock at me one time. It was really and I was like, he was a long way away. And I was walking with my girlfriend at the time. I had my arm around her and it hit my hand. It fucking hurt. And I didn't, what the fuck was that? And then there were these kids, and they were like a couple 100 meters away, laughing. And I went, get fucked, you little bastards. And one of them said something about, like, go fuck yourself, Whitey. And I went, and I just lost it. I went, yeah. How about I come down there? I'll find your parents and we'll talk to the parents about what you're fucking doing and we'll see who's in trouble there. And then they just ran because the parents would not have put up with their kids being little shits like that. Yeah, it's just like, it fucking hurt. Like, it wasn't a huge rock, but it was like a rock about this big and it hit my hand. Fucking hurt. I'm really glad it didn't hit my girlfriend or hit me in the head or something. But yeah, that was an interesting environment to live in Chippendale, in a back street just up the road from Redfern Station in the 90s. Yes, in the 90s. So colourful, very colourful. But anywho, all that fun talk about Sydney, Melbourne. I'm going to go to bed because it's still a work day tomorrow, and then be the stream tomorrow night. Maybe party night, and then actually catching up with some people in person on Saturday. Safa's going to be there, and we'll see what's happened. Oh, and the gauntlet was a row of people asking for money from commuters. I was pretty good at ignoring them. Anyway, good night all. I'm going to be back tomorrow. Have a good date tomorrow night, Abigail. Hey, didn't see Salumi tonight, which that probably means Salumi had a date tonight. They hopefully had a good time. They can tell us about it. And that will be interesting to hear how their night went. But all you dating people, have fun. See you all later. Bye for now.